Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about Megafactory Titan, which is a game that has been out for a little while, but it recently got a big patch, and so I wanted to go back and play it again. And since I haven't played it in this channel, I just thought I would talk a little bit about it. Um, this is a game that's sort of a mixture between city building and automation factory building. Um, you're not building a city so much as you are building a factory, but your point of view, your perspective is a bit of, it looks a bit like SimCity or something like that. City skylines, because you're putting down buildings in that sort of perspective. Also, the game has a budget that you need to manage, which reminds me a lot of these city building games because those typically have a budget and you start off with either a lot of money or some sort of loan that you have to pay off. In this game, you start off with a loan. You start off with nothing. You have a little rover that you kind of can move around in. And what you're doing is you're looking for a place that has the right mixture of resources for your first land grab. In this game, you can buy plots of land, and you have a limited amount of money at the start, so you're better off finding land that has everything that you need at the beginning. At the beginning, you're looking for something to make concrete and something to make wire, and then, or possibly mineral wool, I believe is what it's called. So yeah, so you can, if you find some metal, if you find some sandstone, some basalt, anything like that, um, you can get started. Now you can see this little cube, like the little green cube, will change size and shape as I hover over different parts of land. And that just shows you the relative quantity of the resources that's available there. You can see that there's a color shift between different points of land. And that actually does signify the location of that particular resource that you're looking at. Yeah, I think it looks really interesting and cool, and I'm sure if you play this game enough, you'll get used to what the colors look like. The resources do run out as you dig, and as far as I can tell, you just dig the land into like the plane, like a ground plane. I haven't run into times where you are actually digging holes into the ground at this point, although that may be there eventually. There is a research tree in this game, and it is quite deep, so that is something to consider. The other thing too that I'll talk about very briefly is that you can see that I'm sort of going around. I've been going around for quite a bit now, looking for places that have the right combination of resources. Um, there is an operating cost, including taxes, to your factory. And if you take too long to build your factory, you are going to start incurring daily costs um, that are going to eat into your starting capital. You really want to avoid doing that. You don't start out with that much money. You want to be able to start building relatively fast so that you can start paying off your at least your operating cost and then your actual uh, loan. Um, the interface is, I think, almost a typical early access interface in that it has a lot of information, um, but it's not the easiest, most intuitive interface to navigate. Luckily, the game does have a pretty good tutorial that highlights the portions of the interface that you care about as it's teaching you things, as you can see here. So you can find buttons relatively uh, easy or easily using this feature. Looking at the game budget, or rather the game's budget. You can see that there's a daily breakdown. There's debits and credits, um, which, if you've done any accounting, you're familiar with. And then on the left is sort of a summary of what is taking up the budget. There are things like taxes in there that you have to worry about. So there's absolutely a daily cost. Um, there there are multiple ways of transporting resources. There's trucks and sort of the equivalent of and tubes. Tubes are basically the equivalent of belts in a lot of other games. Uh, there are push and pull belts, um, and things are delivered on a sort of an as needed basis. You can set up filters. Filters are built in from the beginning. You don't have to research them or have special types of inserters to do filtered inputs and outputs. Uh, there's different types of power, different factions, and different factions start out with different starting technologies. There is quite a bit in here, and it's quite interesting, I think, overall. The resources that you can build are very initially they are simple. They get complicated fast. You can, if you want to build a particular building, you actually have to build it in a special factory that is made for building structures. And you can trade the undeployed structures with other factions. And in fact, that is one of the major things that you'll be doing in this game, because the only way to make money is to make money from the other factions. As far as I can tell, there's no like sort of passive income that you get from taxes to your people, right? Um, like you would in a city skylines game or something, or rather, you produce things and then you sell things to the other factions, and that's how you make money. You can set up, you can research things. One of the things that you're going to notice is that there are weapons, including um, defensive turrets and as well as offensive mobile weapons. Um, this is relatively deep into the tech tree that these start to appear. Um, and the other thing to notice is that factions have a standing with you, okay? And then you can make them happy or unhappy as you deliver things to them. I imagine that there may be other reasons why factions become happy or unhappy, but I just have not played the game deep enough to get into the faction warfare aspect of it. I wanted to do like this game is very very deep, and I'm not going to have enough time to play in a timely manner to put a video out. If I wanted to absolutely delve into everything that it has to offer, so instead I just wanted to talk about a little bit about my impressions of the game, because I think overall this game is very interesting. It's a little bit different from anything else that's out there, which is something that I think you want as a game. You have to have some sort of unique appeal. Um, it's absolutely a mix of a city builder with automation builder. Um, the money aspect is, I think, relatively unique in these. I mean, it's not. There are games that have money in them, but the way that this one has it is more along the lines of a city builder than like a straight up like a tycoon style game, for example. Uh, Very interesting, I think overall. There are many choices that you can make in the game as far as like how to approach your factory. Things like producing things or transporting things in bulk but slower, or having faster transports that move less things at a time. Um, Having factories that take up a lot of space versus factories that take up less space. Some of them will maybe consume power at a higher rate. You know, larger buildings typically cost more to maintain, so they cost more money. Um, but sometimes they can make things faster too. So, if producing things at a high enough rate is important, then you might want to go with the larger building. But that's not always true. There are some smaller buildings that also produce things faster than another building of the same size or even a larger building. Maybe the advantage of the larger building is that it consumes a lot less power. So it just kind of has to do with your own priorities, what you what your situation is, what you have a lot of and what you have a little of, your scarcities and your abundances, so to speak. Um, yeah, there's a lot to think about here. So very, very customizable. I think if you are a person that enjoys micromanaging your factory, this game will probably appeal to you. If you are a person that enjoys having to seek out resources and constantly having to change what your factory is making to account for the um, demand of the game, then this will be interesting because you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of trading contracts, and the trade contracts are what's going to give you money in the game. So if you are not making the things that are being asked for, then you're going to get stuck not making any money, and before you know it, you're going to run out of money, because even if you have paid off your initial debt, you still have operating costs. There's a maintenance cost to all your buildings, and there are taxes to be paid. At the very least, there may be more than that. I don't recall. So yeah, I think it's the sort of game that's going to appeal to somebody that really likes to get into the details, that is going to be micromanaging their entire factory all the time. If you prefer games that are going to uh, be more of a producing an end product from a starting point, and you don't want to have to constantly micromanage your base to produce something that right now that you might not need in 10 minutes, then I'm not sure that this game is going to appeal to you, because you are going to have to be responsive to what's going on in the game uh, in order to be successful at this game. So overall, I have a very positive impression of this game, but I do think that it's not going to appeal to everyone. It depends on how much time you have to micromanage your factory, uh, because that's another aspect of it. I think as you tinker and as you uh, develop the best possible layout. And by the way, I am aware that my layout is terrible. I laid this out thinking of a normal factory game, but I actually think as I look at it and as I experience more of the game, that you probably need a more radial approach to things, where you sort of have a generalized input output, if you will, so that you can change things as the situation in the game changes. In any case, this has been a look at Megafactory Titan. Um, Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.